How's it going on? This is Jason, and we're here in South Korea, and it's gonna be my second video that I'm posting on Twitter for this video series. All right, so today we're gonna talk about the Daily Wrap-Up Crew interview with Dr. Umar Johnson. And in that interview, we're gonna mainly talk about the segment where he talks about how black men need to be responsible for the poor decisions of black women. Now, this interview sparked a little bit of controversy and heat amongst the I guess the diaspora, we want to say here. And today we're going to talk about it. I'm going to say this. You have to, when you watch or listen to Dr. Umar, you have to ask yourself, are you a follower of the Marcus Garvey Pan-African movement? Or are you just, hey, I'm pro-Black American? Or are you like, hey, I'm okay with interracial dating, right? And you have to look at it that way. So when you look at it, you have to understand when he speaks, he is speaking for that group. I know he likes to make it seem like that all black people need to be on one accord, and I'm gonna say he's delusional with that, because I know a lot of black people want to think that all of us are the same. We're not. People from Ghana has their own separate culture. People from Atlanta has their own separate culture. People from Jamaica, Haiti, Nigeria, Kenya, New Orleans, Chicago, New York, they all have their own different type of culture and backgrounds and beliefs and values, right? Now, Black Americans as a whole, I can see we are considered one group, but even then, when you break it down, we're all not the same, right? And I think the reason why it makes it difficult for us to get anything done, because we keep moving as if we need all people to get on board initially in order for us to get this thing successful. And I don't believe that. I feel like we can start with a small group for each movement. If you're a Marcus Garvey person, you can get 3,000 people behind your movement. Start off with those 3,000 people. If you are a passport bro and you say, hey, let's go overseas, black men, let's go over here, you can get 3,000 men to go part of that movement, this and that. So I don't believe the most effective way to get something done is to have 100% participation, because we're not going to get 100% participation. Are we aiming for majority participation? Yes, I can see that. For any movement, we want majority, but the thing that needs to happen is black men working together. And we're going to talk about this interview that he did on the Daily Wrap-Up Crew. And, I want us to really not take it personally, the things he say, but let's break it down. Let's talk about it. Let's analyze it. Because he says things, but of course he doesn't give all the context and all the details, because the interview, he can't give that. So that's up to us to sit back and then break it down, the good, the bad, the ugly, in order for us to come up with a plan to move forward. All right. So let's play this video, and I'm gonna stop it in between and break things down.
Steinem, I think she was.
Right, yeah.
Mother of modern feminism, because traditional feminism goes back to the 1800s, right? With Susan B. Anthony and those white supremacists. But Gloria Steinem was a CIA agent. They financed her. Her first feminist magazine they paid for. The CIA brought feminism into the white household to get the woman out the house, and into the black household to turn the black woman against the black man. To scapegoat us for problems caused for her by white supremacy.
That's the first point. Brother Dr. Umar said the CIA decades ago infiltrated the black community with the feminist movement with the goal of sabotaging the black family, the unit between black women and black men. That is the first system that was put in place to sabotage the black community. And fast forward to modern day, we see some of the ramifications of that. So I guess needless to say, they were successful in that infiltration with the feminist movement decades ago. So keep that in mind as we go through this interview. And he starts talking about now it is the responsibility of the black man to make up for the poor decisions of the black woman, right? Because in order for us to do what he is saying, we need to understand everything that we are dealing with. And one of the things that we are dealing with, black men, is a system that was put in place by the CIA. You can't solve no problems without understanding what is the problem and the workings of that problem. You can't go into nothing to fix until you understand what it is exactly you are fixing. Okay?
We spoke about the gender wars, earlier. Obviously, there's a lot of conversation nowadays about the value of what a woman brings and the value of what a man brings in a relationship. And now there's a lot more rhetoric from our women that we hear is I'm strong, independent. I don't need no man, right?
That's
So,
that's pain speaking, though.
right,
Because most black women know they will never get a man. A black woman can have sex whenever she wants
right.
because she's beautiful. She can have a bed mate, but to have a soul mate, she may never get. I have 2 daughters, 11 and 20, right? My oldest will be 21 this week. Statistically, right? There's a strong chance my daughter could be one of those. I hope she's not. She could be one of those who never get a husband because only 1 out of 4 gets a husband. You see that? So when a black woman says, I don't need a man, that is a reaction to the reality that I may not get a man.
1 out of 4 black women will get a man. I'm going to assume he's talking about marriage. 1 out of 4 black women will get a man, marriage. Now, I watched another black YouTuber. He mentioned another statistic, which is that majority of black men are not having sex. They're not participating in the dating marketplace. So that can add some clarity and context to why only 1 out of 4 black women are getting married. That's not the only that's not the only reason why. There's other things like I'm gonna humor you. You could probably add interracial dating as well as part of the reason why 1 out of 4. So let's take into account that majority of the black men in the community are not having sex, nor are they participating in the dating marketplace. So you have a minority group of black men who are having sex with majority of the women, but only a minority of that minority are actually marrying that 1 out of 4 black women. All right, that is something we have to note. So we talked about, so that is another issue, right? So not only do black men, we're dealing with the CIA, we're also dealing with the fact that majority of the black men aren't marrying, aren't having sex, they aren't reproducing. It is a minority group of black men who is reproducing with majority of the black women in the community.
I understood. You're obviously against interracial relations when it comes to black men with with white women.
With all women. You should only be with the black woman.
And you will say, well, if you can't find a good woman in America, there's
somewhere
plenty
else.
in Africa.
Absolutely.
So why not teach that same rhetoric to our women? Like if you feel
I
like
tell sisters all the time, go to Africa. So I know sisters who marry. I just spoke with a sister. She invited me to the wedding. She just married a brother from the continent.
So, but instead of saying they will never get married,
I'll take sisters to Africa who married brothers they met in Africa.
Right.
So yeah,
I think there's plenty. I think there's obviously plenty of black men
yes,
for black women. So
and what I also tell black women, if
married,
you're going to go get you an African man from the continent,
right,
you're going to have to understand that the way in which you talk to black men in America will not be tolerated over there.
Why the fuck is it tolerated? It's not tolerated here. That's what we're trying to tell them.
Well, over here, I want to say this to us, though.
Okay. Because what he's about to say is kind of like a 2-part. Let's first talk about the first part. Yes, he is right. There are some black American women who are going over to Africa to get married. Congratulations, I am happy for those sisters. However, what he just said is, he even tells these women, and I'm pretty sure the African brothers tell these women too, the way you speak to black men in America will not be tolerated over here. So you need to change your tone. And ironically, those women do. However, he's going to talk about why black women in America do not or should not or don't have to change their tone for us black American men, right? So, once again, I'm trying to lay out all of the issues, all of the hurdles, all of the alligator pits that we have to navigate black men based off, because he wants black men to be responsible for the poor decisions. Poor decisions, yeah, it's a lot that we have to analyze and know what we're walking into.
Because we try to act like the way sisters treat us doesn't have a history that we are not at least partly responsible for. Let's be honest. The black woman has had to hold down the black house by herself, although imperfectly. She's had to do it by herself since the mass incarceration of black males began in the 1970s. You understand me? Most of our children are raised by a single mother right now. And it has been that way for about 50 years. So when a sister says, I don't need a man, because she couldn't find one strong enough to hold her down. Or when you meet a woman and you say, sister, I'm strong enough to be your man. You ain't got to work or you ain't got to pay the bills or whatever. Pull back, I got you. And she can't do it because all the other men before you who disappointed her. So what I'm saying is, black men, we got to be patient with our women because we created that personality. We created that. And then we want to act like we didn't play a role.
We have to be held accountable for their
Early on, he said the CIA is what orchestrated, contributed to the sabotage of the black family by, quote unquote, creating the modern state of some of the black women in the community. Then he mentioned mass incarceration is what imprisoned majority of the black men 50 years ago, leaving, I guess we say, another smaller group of black men. Then he also says that you might be a black man who is worth their weight, worth something, brings something to the table, can take care of the bills, but because of the hurt that black men has caused her, she can't receive that good man. She can't receive what he can do for her to lift the burden off her shoulders because she's been hurt by black men 50 years ago. And it wasn't all black men, all right? But see what I'm saying? So we have the CIA we're dealing with. We have mass incarceration that we're dealing with. And we have one thing he doesn't talk about is when the government came into the black community and started saying, hey, we'll offer you housing and shelter and food if you aren't married. That is another aspect that contributed to what we see today. Whereas the government stepped in and played the husband for the black family, and all she had to do was not get married to the black man. So yes, that definitely black men should have fought. We should have like, no, we don't need that government assistance. We will take care of this on our own. That's something that wasn't brought up in this interview, but it's a very important and a very key historical fact that plays a part. And that I will say, I can agree on how we did created the current state of the black community, right? The CIA, it's hard to fight the CIA. There's nations that can't get rid of the CIA, and they succumb to the CIA. So I can't expect the black community to win, against the CIA. But I will say this: when the government came in and told the black woman, get rid of your black husbands, and we'll step in and be your husband, that is when black men should have fought and stood up and said no. Or better yet, okay, we'll play that game, but we will be married, not the official way, but we'll be married on paper. We'll be married in the church. There'll be a church record of our marriage, but on quote unquote government records, there won't be nothing. So we can take that money, but we still will hold intact the family unit. That I would say is where the black men in the past messed up. They didn't do it that way. They did it the wrong way. So that is how we messed up. Mass incarceration, that's difficult because Biden back in the day, he pushed a lot of those, him and the other Democrats and Republicans, they pushed a lot of laws that was locking up brothers left and right for simple crimes that if a white person would have did it, they would have got a slap on the wrist. But if you was black, they got your ass for years, right? So let's carry on.
Poor selection.
No, you have to be held accountable. No, you have to be held accountable because they have a poor selection. See, what you're saying, you're selecting a poor mate. And what I'm saying is they don't have much to select one, so of course you're going to end up with a poor mate. And why is she going to end up with a poor mate? Because we as black men are not raising black boys to be the men that our women need.
Once again, I don't believe there are a lot of good black men out there. Let's not fall for the media. Let's not fall for that. The media shows us that there's not a lot of good black men, but I beg to differ because I meet a lot of good black men. They do exist. They aren't what is shown to you on media. So we have this perception that there isn't a lot of good black men, and that is false. There is a lot of good black men out there. Now, are those black men being chosen by black women? Yes, they are. I meet beautiful black families with black men, black women. The wife is good, the husband is good, the kids are good. And so it does happen. But like you said, his statistic of for every 1 out of 4 black women gets married. Okay, so there are good black men out there. The part is the black woman choosing those black men, but yeah, is enough black women choosing more of the good black men, right? That is what is going to get mentioned later on in this interview.
We are not. They out there killing themselves right now. What we doing about it? Unemployed black males, what we doing about it? Pants sagging, weed smoking, what we doing about it? Black men are not raising black boys to be the men our community needs. That is 100% our fault. What I'm saying is she got a right to be angry with us. She got a right to be angry with us.
I understand
we have not been on our job as black men. If the men are the providers, what have we been providing for our community?
Black men who are coaches, black men who are who are teachers, black men who mentor, they do exist. They're out there. There are black men who provide, but he does make a good point. We don't have enough businesses or industries that are controlled or made by black men, so we can employ more black men. That's a fair statement he made. Now, going back to the systematic. For those who don't know, there is literally government funds and programs out there earmarked just for black women. If you look at these programs, they will say, if you are a black woman or a minority, you get preference. So being a black woman and minority gives you two checks on that checklist. So systematically, there's more things purposely put in place to empower the black woman, and there is little to nothing put in place to empower the black man. Therefore, us black men, we have to work together to counter that. We have to learn how to pull resources together to counter the fact that the system is purposely giving resources just to the black woman, which then creates that further divide between black men and black women, because she's like, look, I don't really need y'all. The government keeps being more of a man for me than what you can be, right? So as a black man, we have to really fight hard against that. Unfortunately, that's the ugly truth with it. Now, what are we doing as black men to raise these boys to be men? I have to disagree with him, because there are black men out there who do make themselves as much as possible available to raise these black boys. And now I'm gonna say this, the caveat: I have a daughter, right? I want my daughter to. I'm divorced from my wife, but I have custody. Now, I want my daughter to have a woman influence, so it is up to me to look for that. It is not up to the women to come to me. If they do, they come nice, but it's not their responsibility to come in, hey, let me mentor your daughter. That is my job as the parent to look for positive role models for my child. Let me say it again. As a parent, it is your responsibility to go out there and seek positive role models for your children. Other communities do that. Other communities go look for positive role models for their children. Asians, Hispanic, white, even Africans. They go looking for, the parents go looking for positive role models for their children. Now, the government, we have black politicians. Black politicians' jobs should be putting systems and programs in place that can also encourage good, positive role models, because those black politicians are supposed to be working for who? The people that voted them in. And if most of the people are black, then those black politicians should be creating programs like, hey, look, we want to create a program for black men to mentor black boys. We will provide a facility. We'll provide funding. We just need you black men to run it. Right? So if we have black men, especially if we have black men politicians, we need you to step up as well, because you as a black male politician, just a black politician in general, you have access to government funding and resources where you can help black men out. Now, black men, if we don't have those black politicians stepping up and helping us out, then yes, we have to come together. But for it to just be on the black men, that is delusional. That makes no sense. It has to be a group effort. As a parent, it is your job to look for positive role models for your child. Say this again. As a parent, it is your job to go out and look for positive role models for your child. Now, as a black man, it is your job as well to mentor. So we need both, the meat in the middle. Because here's why. As a black, you can have a bunch of black men who want to mentor. You can have a bunch of good black men who want to mentor these boys, but you can have moms who don't want to listen to those black men. You can have moms that don't want those black men to influence their child. So that's why I say you need the parent as well to want a good black man to mentor their child, and you need the black men who want to mentor. It's not just one-sided, it is a two-sided problem. Okay? So I do agree with him, but he's not giving the whole part for it to really make sense and to make sense, right? So that's how it makes sense. Yes, we need black men to mentor, but we need black parents who are, especially single black mothers, we need them to be looking for positive black male role models. Not saying they are, because I probably not, but we need them to. All right. So let's keep going.
I'm not speaking you individually.
Yes.
Because you may be a damn good father. You may be a damn good father. You may be a damn good father, but guess what? What are we doing for the community? What are we doing for the children who don't have a father? You don't think the black woman got a right to be angry when she's been raising 2/3 of the kids by herself for 50 years? And the minute she raised her voice, we say she's not humble enough? She had to become masculine to survive the rape, the molestation, the domestic abuse. Are you telling me you can't see how we created that?
I understand that, but she needs to be
we was
more
loving
selective.
our women. And
other women from different groups deal with similar issues. I'm not going to sit here and downplay what black women go through. I'm not going to do that. But what I'm going to say is it is not exclusive to black women. And I'm saying this because he's saying that is why black women had to become masculine. Other women deal with the same issues in their communities, but they did not become masculine. Okay? The reason why the black woman became masculine is because, going back to the CIA movement, it made the black woman feel like she is above the black man. It made her feel like she is the leader, she is the head of household, she is the man, and the black man needs to be the woman or the sub of her. That is why. I don't want to put those horrific traumas on black women and saying that's why she became masculine, because that is not why she became masculine. Because like I said, other groups deal with that. Even African women, Jamaican women, Haitian women, Asian women, this and that. And those women still stay feminine. All right. So I just want to talk about that.
And taking care of our women, do you think she would be like that? That personality has a history.
If she's picking Pookie and Ray Ray instead of
you're making her a scapegoat.
No, she's picking a scapegoat.
No.
There's good quality men that they ignore.
Why she even got it? Why is there even a Pookie in the selection?
You gotta ask her that.
No. I'm gonna tell you why there's a Pookie in the selection.
Why?
Because black men have abandoned black boys and have allowed social media, white media, athletes, and rappers to raise them. That's why she with Pookie. If we never allowed Pookie to develop, she would.
So, Pookies and Ray Rays exist in all groups. Once again, it is not something exclusive to the black American community. Pookies and Ray Rays exist all over the world, different communities. All right, so that where brother Dr. Umar is wrong in that statement. Other communities have athletes. Other communities have entertainers. Other communities have the same negative things we have in our community. Other communities have. The thing that those other communities have is a set of values that does not elevate the Pookie and Ray Rays, that doesn't elevate the entertainer, that doesn't elevate the athlete, that doesn't elevate jesters. That's the difference. So because in our community, we elevate those type of people in the community, they get the most attention. Yes, we can attribute some of that to media, right? But once again, we even have BET, and BET even propagated those same images as well. Black men did not create Pookie and Ray Rays. Black men did not allow Pookie. That is what the community. So I guess let me take a few steps back. The intellect, like I said, in other communities, intellectuals are elevated, and their jesters aren't. That's not. You have parents in other communities paying extra money to send their kids to math classes, art classes, music class, like stuff that's going to stimulate the intellect, send them to STEM programs. And you have people in our community, not all, but some, who send their kids to sport camps, to music, stuff like that. That's going to help hopefully make them become an entertainer of an NBA or NFL in the future, right? So that's what I want to say for that point.
She would not have a Pookie. If we're going to be men, the first thing we got to do is take responsibility for why our women feel the way they feel.
I can hear that.
I'm not saying that they're right to disrespect, because even if a woman disrespects me, right, that still don't give me a right to disrespect her, because she's still the queen of the community. Even if she's not acting like it, I'm going to give her that respect. But when I hear brothers talk like this discourse we having now, we act like we don't understand.
No,
there's reasons for that shit.
I do understand. Women are so valuable. You get what I'm saying? Like, I think women ground men and help them, propel to the next level. I think men get further in life with a woman, right? But if I'm a hardworking man, but I'm only looked at as resources,
okay,
and then she's ready to jump on Tom, Dick, and Harry because he got flash. He's shining a little bit more. His access to money is quicker than mine. It's kind of hard to have that.
Well, no, one, I agree with you, but that's not all sisters.
No, it's not.
If you're constantly running into that type of woman, then the problem is you, because you're attracting a certain low vibrational energy. Why
not have that same energy for women? You just again, you held the man responsible. Because we having a conversation
as men.
Yeah,
I got plenty of interviews with all women where I check them too.
Right.
But as a man, you should not be concerned about what I say to them. No. As men, we should be concerned of what we're going to do to produce a better generation of black males for tomorrow. That's the only, that is where we should be focusing.
Women bring the choice of life.
He is right. We should not care what he's saying to black women. We should not care. And he is right. You attract, what you put out is what you attract. I can agree with that. And also, where you at also contributes to what you. So if you're in an area where those negative women are at, then most likely you're gonna, so you have to sometimes go outside your area. You have to go outside. You got to increase your scope, I guess you could say. You got to try to. You can't probably look locally because locally is probably all the women that you don't want to deal with. So you got to probably go somewhere else and go find the better quality women. This is why you have some men who do date outside the race, because they try to look for women who is in line with what they are putting out there, but they had a hard time finding those women, so they go elsewhere, right? And then you have some men who don't want to go outside, they want to stay in, but they got tired of looking, they gave up, and they said, screw it, I'm not gonna look at all, right? Going back to what he said, only 1 out of 4 black women get married. And like I said earlier, it's only a minority group of black men who is even actually doing the sex and dating and reproducing of kids. So we're dealing with some off-balance numbers here in the black community. There's a large pool of black women who want to be married, who want to have kids, and there's a small group of black men who actually who is actually doing the sex. And then within that group, of the group that is getting the business of men, is probably a smaller group in there who's actually of the good quality men. Whatever good quality men y'all had your idea of good quality men. So, but to take, because I think it comes down to you, and he's gonna lead into this. You have the resources, you have the intelligence of the black man, and you have to ask yourself, do you want to put up with that fight? If you really want to be pro-black, you want to be like black man, black woman, then yes, you're gonna either you leave America, go to Africa, go to Jamaica, go get you a black woman who's not gonna give you that pushback that you feel you're gonna get in America, or you stay in America and you put in the work. All right, like I said, there's plenty of black women who is eligible to be married and have kids. Like I said, right now it's only 1 out of 4. So there is a lot of black women in America that you can marry, and probably a good chance in finding one that's suitable for you. But you have to be willing to take on that heat that you might get.
Right? We understand that, right? I can't have a child unless a woman agrees.
And she can't carry one if you didn't put it in her.
I agree with that 100% too, right? But whether or not, if you want that child or not, she can still make that decision. It's only up to her.
If you don't put a seed in her, nothing else happens. And no woman can make you put a seed in her. So the original act was the responsibility of a man.
True. I mean,
all right. So
I agree with that. We may be transparent before. In the past, I used to think otherwise. Like, no, she's an adult. I'm an adult. We both consent to sex. She's 50%. It's 50-50. It takes 2 to tango. But no, black men, be careful who you put your seed in. And if you're gonna go in raw with a woman that you can consider marrying or at least raise a child with. So yes, it is your ultimate. This is up to you. Is ultimately your fault. So that goes back to the minority of black men who are reproducing. We need that group to stop impregnating these women. Yes, she has the means to get rid of it if she wants to, but we need less of I guess we could say, the pookies reproducing. If you're not going to be present in your child's life, do not make a child. Wear a condom. Use some type of condom, black man, wear a condom. I know there's plan B, but she has to want to take that. But you can either not have sex or wear a condom. Stop making babies that you're not going to be around to raise. All right. That's the first thing. Right.
Did black men willingly leave the household, or was it the system that was?
It was systemic.
All right. So how if we giving them grace for them having to do it without us, but it wasn't our fault, how are we not getting that same grace and that same respect?
I'm gonna tell you why.
Why?
I'm gonna tell you why. Because black men, as the leaders of the community. Now,
Right.
We can't be leaders.
here's the
Women
question
aren't
we got to
accepting
make.
that.
Here's the question. Because the argument y'all make
Yeah.
feeds into the feminist agenda.
Okay.
It's an argument that says, I don't want the responsibility.
I'm a leader.
I
in
don't
my
want to
home,
fix
though.
shit,
Mm.
right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm going to fall back and let her run everything. That's what the feminists tell. They say, look at them, making excuses for why they can't be better men, making excuses for why they can't make better men. You understand?
Mm.
Your argument feeds the feminist narrative.
That's
and it's
not.
dangerous.
That's not what we're making
That's not,
excuses
that's
for.
what we're not. I'm
We-
saying
I agree somewhat to his statement. He is right. It is you, as a black man, responsibility to lead and build a community. Now, before you could build a community, black man, you first need to have yourself together. It first starts with yourself. First, get yourself together first, then build a family, because the major part of a community is made up of families. All right. So the black man, work on yourself first. Work, either be getting shape, educated, get your money together. Then go out there and find yourself a wife. Okay? And then you form a community that is in line with what the values your family has. Okay? Not, now I know that he's gonna start talking about black men being responsible for the children of single moms, but I'm gonna say this: black men make a family and then form a community that is in line with the values that your family values. That makes sense, right? Now, here's another thing. It's gonna be a little bit. I'm gonna piece some people off. Do you have to? I'm a firm believer in, if this not gonna work, I'm gonna go make my own. So if this community isn't working, black men, go form another community that is in line with the values that y'all put in place, what y'all think, because then that's less traction, right? Because at least everybody that's coming to that new community you are building, they are agreeing to the values and the systems that you're gonna put in place. Versus you going into an already established community that has a completely different set of values, a whole different pot of issues that you now need to work through, and that's gonna probably take you some time, right? So, yes, the black men, it is your job to lead in the community, but first you need to lead yourself, and you need to lead your family, and then lead in the community. Now, once again, if you want to go out and start a new community, some people do that. They go, they go find African women. Some go find Spanish women, some go find Asian women, and they raise these half-black kids. But they raise them in a way that is more in line with black culture or some mixture of it. But yes, you should be leading. If you want to have the community listen to you, this and that, then go start your own community. Go start a new community. That is an option. Now that's not in line with the Pan-Africanism philosophy that Dr. Umar follows, but I'm gonna give you, hey, here's another option. Yes, if you want the women to listen and respect you, go start another community and say, hey, when you come in here, here's the rules, here's the stipulations, here's how things go, and if you want to be part of this community, you have to follow.
I am the better man, but I shouldn't be held responsible because you wanted to choose a Pookie and a Ray Ray. That's not me. I worked too
And
hard
I'm
in my
gonna go back
life.
to what I said. Pookie and Ray Ray shouldn't exist. And the only reason why Pookie and Ray Ray exist because we're not in the community making those boys the men they need to be. Do you see that?
And,
she don't get a Pookie if you didn't allow a Pookie.
But she got an Eli. She ain't come to Eli. She went to Pookie. And that's what we're trying to say.
She wouldn't have had a Pookie if we didn't allow
I worked too
one.
hard in my life.
She wouldn't have had a Pookie if we didn't allow one.
But Dr. Umar,
Men supposed to make raise the boys.
Right. We
Rites
as
of
men,
passage.
we as men is holding other men accountable for the same thing that you talking about right now.
What are we doing for the young brothers in the street? So
What you mean, mentoring them? Now, I mean, he's a great father.
Mm-hmm.
I ain't
My
talking about
brother
that's
is a great
individual.
father.
That's good.
Uh-huh.
But that's individualism.
Yeah.
What are we doing collectively as men to change the trajectory for black boys in the streets right now?
I believe
Nothing.
We're being
but
a voice.
talking shit.
Yeah, I mean, you could take
It's
it as
not
that.
going to get better unless we put hands on deck. The reason the athletes and the rappers are the role models is the professional black man moved out the hood. Where the dentist at? He ain't in the black community no more.
Mm-hmm.
Where the lawyer at? Where the business owner at? Where your city council person at? We
You
abandon
don't even know who that
black
is.
boys, and then we blame black men for poor choices in mates that they should not even have to make if we did a better job raising our boys the right way.
He is correct. The black professionals left the hood, which they should. We tend to be the only group that think our professional higher socioeconomic members should stay in the hood. No other group does this. No other group does. As you progress socioeconomically, education-wise, your surroundings need to also improve in order for you to continue to grow and develop. If you stay in the hood as a doctor, you are now surrounded by other factors that might hinder your professional growth or hinder your life expectancy, right? So yes, the professionals need to leave. Now, when they leave, ideally they're leaving to another black community of other professionals. But like another sister said, we don't have that many like middle to upper class black communities out there, right? So what ends up happening, instead of like those black professionals moving to like a community maybe 20, 30 minutes away, they end up moving to another professional black community or a mixed community that's probably the next city, town, or even state or next state, right? So I'm not gonna sit here and agree with the professionals staying. No, you shouldn't. You worked hard, because that shows the other people in the community work hard, and then you can move up to a better area where it's gonna be better quality living for your family and yourself. So that part, yes, they should leave for obvious reasons. Now, he talked about the black politicians. I agree. If you are a black politician, you should be working to create programs in the hood communities where the professionals can visit and support. I don't want my professionals living in the hood, but I do want my professionals coming to the hood when they can to give mentorship, to teach and whatnot, so then they can show the people in the hood there is a way out, there's a better option, this and that. I don't want my professionals living in the hood, but I do want my professionals coming and volunteering time in the hood. And I want my black politicians to be working to use resources to provide infrastructure and funding so that black professionals can facilitate the things needed to mentor and educate these black boys in the hood.
At the end of the day, if I'm gonna call myself a man, the ultimate responsibility for reconstruction of the black community rests with me. Yes, they have a role. Yes, they have responsibility. But as a man, as a leader, to say I can't fix this shit unless she changes, that's not the definition of a man.
I don't see. I think when
So I agree. As a black man, as a leader, it is my responsibility for the reconstruction of the black community. Or better yet, we make a whole new one. That's mine. I'm all about, you know what? Let this one burn out. We're gonna start a whole new one. Right? So we know when people come into it, here's the rules, here's the policies, here's the values, here's what we over here follow. If you want to participate, you have to follow. And if you don't participate, here's the ramifications of your action. We have to just tell black men to go and give resources to help without there being stipulations, without there being consequences for the misuse and abuse of these successful black men resources is foolish. We should not do that. We should put safety measures in place saying, hey, look, we as successful black men, we're gonna come in here. We're gonna either come to your community or we're gonna make a new community that's gonna be good for your black boys. But these are the rules the parent and the child must follow in order for us to ensure the success of your child. That is what needs to be, that is what should have been said by Dr. Umar. And I think he probably means that. But you know, it's a short interview. There's only so much he can say. But I'm gonna go ahead and say it. If I'm gonna tell black men to go and support and go and allocate their time and resources, then damn it, they have the right to demand stipulations for their time and resources. I think that fair enough. If I'm gonna mentor your child, I need you, mom, and your son to make a commitment. If you don't follow the commitment, you will be disqualified. There needs to be rules. There needs to be structure. There needs to be consequences. Because right now, that's the issues we're having. There's no rules. There's no structure. There's no consequences. This, that. You could come and go as you please. No. This ain't the church. The church will say come as you are. But in my mentorship camp, you come how I see fit. Pants up, a button-up t-shirt, a button-up shirt with a tie, hair neat. If you have facial hair, clean it up, sit down, be on time, and be quiet. And the moms, I expect you to participate at home as well, because this is not just a one-sided effort. This is a joint effort.
We're on two different accords. I don't think we're saying that. What I'm saying is I'm capable of being that leader, that provider. I've worked hard in my life. You get what I'm saying? I should not have to.
You still go back to individualism.
But I only feel like we tell black men that we have to now deal with masculine women with children.
Why is she masculine? Because she's had to raise the kids alone. Not one woman,
so
brother. A whole community.
So you mean to tell me the only woman I could look forward in my life is a masculine woman that has kids by other men?
No.
That's what I have to look forward to?
But I'm telling you, mistakes made by black men systemically gave rise to the conditions that allowed her to be masculine and made her end up with a man that you consider to be less than what he should be. And I'm telling you, black men are responsible for her being masculine because we have not helped her raise them children.
I am
and
not.
when I say help them raise them children, I don't mean you as the stepdad.
No, I
mean you as an active member in the community where we go to every single parent black mother and say, how many sons you got? 2? How many sons you got? 2? Well, guess what? That's your son's big brother. That's your son's big brother. He taking them to school. He doing the homework. He gonna spend a couple hours with them every Saturday. He got his own kids too, but he gonna make time for you. She got masculine because she had to become masculine in order to deal with the rape, the abuse, the domestic violence, the disappointments that men had in her life, and also raising those kids and have to take care of herself all at the same time. The black woman has been the be-all, in-all in our community for half of a century, and now we want to turn around and say because she didn't do it perfectly enough or remain feminine enough when she had to absorb our responsibilities plus her own, that's insensitive and disingenuous.
I don't believe so.
Yeah, I can't.
I mean, I guess I do understand what you're saying.
I'm not taking
you
nothing
have
back from
yet
that.
to tell me something that we've done systemically to combat that.
All right, just real quick. Once again, here in South Korea, there is a lot of single Korean women, and there's a lot of single Filipino women that I see walk around here all the time, and they are still feminine. Some of them endure some of the same hardships. So he keep using those horrible traumas as an excuse. I understand what he means is they had to make themselves hard, but that doesn't mean they had to make themselves masculine, because other women who are single moms, because once again, being a single mother is not inclusive to the black community. We think it is because that's all we see. But when you go out and travel the world, you will see single motherhood, rapings and all that is done in different groups. You go to the Philippines, there is a ton of single moms. A ton. You go to Korea, there's a lot of single moms. The difference is their media does not uplift them. Their government does not strongly subsidize them like America does. That's the difference. So black people think it's only us, and it's not. That's something I really want us to stop thinking. We need to stop thinking this is only special to us. It's not. But the media attention is special to us. We get too much media attention, and then resulting in us being like the face of single motherhood, the face of government assistance, because the media keeps showing us, but we aren't the majority group. There's a ton of single white women out there. There's a ton of Asian women. There's a ton of especially Spanish women. But we don't see that. They don't show those images. They don't show negative images of their community. They mainly try to show positive images. So that's why I said there is a lot of successful, strong black men out there, but we don't see them a lot in the media. But then this also goes back to his statement where then we need them to be more seen in the community, and there are some in the community as well. But going back to kind of talk about the Daily Wrap-Up Crew, he made a good point. He said, so that means I have to look forward to a masculine woman? And I say, no, you do not. But Dr. Umar makes a good point. You should not, if you don't want to, don't marry a masculine woman. But if she has a son, make a program. I'm gonna say it. I'm not gonna say it individual. Black men, I'm not saying you as an individual. What I'm saying is make a program where you go to these mothers, like Dr. Umar said, come together, black men, reach out to black politicians, you have some, or reach out to local politicians in general. Come together, make a program, try to get a central location, because don't go into these people's homes unless, try not to. Try to make it, because we want to take the black boys from that environment and put them in an environment where it's more positive, it is more nourished, it's what they need to develop into a strong black man. So I will say that, no, you should not marry a masculine woman if that's not what you're into. No, do not marry her. But if she has a black boy, you should be trying to figure out how you can provide mentorship and resources to that black boy that's gonna help him grow and develop into a positive black man. And I'm gonna say this: there's black Korean boys, so that's not necessarily just exclusive, just full black boys. If you in an area where there's mixed black kids and you see there's black mixed boys, you as a black man, you have that same obligation too as well, wherever you're at. But if you can, work with other black men.
I don't believe so.
Yeah, I can't.
I mean, I guess I understand what you're saying.
I'm not taking
you
nothing
have
back from
yet
that.
to tell me something that we've done systemically to combat that. Because you keep saying me and her. I don't care about me and her.
But there's plenty
women and men. Mm-hmm. Women and men as a group in the community. You understand?
Right.
We gave birth to that. You see? So you say she had a couple kids already because she met men. She probably thought they was good, some of them. They left her.
She knew they wasn't good.
You don't know that, brother.
She knew they wasn't good.
You're making assumptions about her. Would you make the same assumption if she was a white woman?
Yes, I would.
So you say.
No,
come on, man. Nah. Come on.
We hold all women accountable.
So you say.
Listen, like I said, I feel like as a black man.
We don't hold them all accountable because black men date outside their race more than every other man put together.
I said we.
Y'all three?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can't disprove that because I don't know you personally.
Even that,
but
if we look at the numbers, black men marry black women at an 87% rate, where black women marry outside of their race, or they marry outside at a 92%.
Black women do not. No, you're wrong.
That's percentages of
You're wrong.
That's not that much.
Black women do not marry out the race more than black men.
I'm not
wrong.
saying that. But the percentages
Black
ain't that
women,
far off. That's what I'm
black
saying.
women have one of the highest, fastest growing interracial marriage rates.
Mm-hmm.
But her interracial marriage rate pales in comparison to what black men have been doing interracially for 4 or 5 decades. You understand? She don't even come close to what we're doing interracially.
Black fathers are in the home more than any other group or race.
Okay. But what
that has no value?
It does have value, but we're going to put that up against the other statistic. 2/3 of our kids are being raised by the women. 2/3 of our kids are being raised by the women. Mm-hmm. And like I said, when I say being raised, I'm not saying it needs to be a father. I would like a father in that house.
Yeah.
But I know it's not enough of us to go around.
Yeah.
We are not even being accountable to the boys in the hood. And we're complaining about the women.
I argue with women
who are making babies with the irresponsible men that we didn't raise correctly. That's bullshit.
All right.
That's wimp-ass, weak man shit. Take responsibility for our shit. Stop scapegoating them.
Yeah, I could agree. I could agree to that.
All I'm saying is look at all we can be.
And he said, yes, there is a lot of black fathers who are raising their children compared to other groups, like the brother said. But then Umar rebutted it, well, what about the black women who don't have a man in the household? That's not advice. That's the fault of the black men, I guess, who either she hooked up with, he had no intentions being in the home, or they got divorced, and depending on how the custody went. But me as a black father who is involved, the fact that she doesn't have a black man in her household, that's not my problem. Not at all. I'm not responsible for you're not responsible for another person's household. As a black man, you're responsible for your own household. Now, from a community aspect, you do have an obligation to the community. Your household is part of the community, but that household is your responsibility. When you step outside of your household, you now have an obligation to your community. And I like to say, okay, say you volunteer. I think as black men, we should try to strive to volunteer 2 hours out the week, and that's a low number. That's easy. If we had every black man who is a good, successful black man in the community volunteer 2 hours a week, I think 2 hours a week is a very reasonable obligation. Say, okay, 2 hours a week, I'm gonna volunteer to teach, coach, or tutor. And say we have 20 black men offering 2 hours a week. That's 40 hours of week from black men contributing to the black community for black boys. That is how we should go about it. We are not responsible for someone else's household, but we have an obligation to the black boys in the community. That makes any sense. And I think, like I said, going at it as, okay, I'm going to volunteer 2 hours a week to mentoring, tutoring black boys. And we get 10 other brothers who want to make that same commitment. And that is a good way moving forward. All right. But you should not, like I said, Brother Umar believes in Pan-Africanism, and I respect that belief. Before I joined the military, I used to think the same way. But as a black man, as you move up, you become successful, your household is your sanctuary. And part of your sanctuary is the woman you married. When you leave your house, you're going out to fight battles, you're going out to build, you're going out to that. And when you come home, you want peace. You don't want to come home to another battlefield. So, who you want to marry is your choice. But as a black man, you also have an obligation to your black community. Now, some may argue saying you can't marry outside your race and still be able to participate. I think those people are foolish. I think you can. And I've seen other races that do it too, and they seem to they have no issues. But we seem to think that you gotta be all in or nothing. And then that in itself is what pushes away the good black men that we can have volunteer in the community. We want them to help mentor and uplift and teach these black boys. So we shouldn't be pushing away any black man who is successful, who has something of value to offer. We shouldn't be pushing none of them away. We say, okay, come and teach these boys to be men.
He's doing better, man. Half the black boys in the 4th grade can't read. What black men doing about that systemically?
Not enough.
I know what I'm doing about it. I'm building
agree.
a school for it, 2 of them.
Mm-hmm.
But systemically, as black men, what are we doing about that? Nothing. Black boys are the most unemployed teenager in America. What black men doing about that?
Not
See, the
as much.
Pookie and Ray
Not
Ray
as
you
much.
kept talking about?
Mhm.
We letting them raise right before our eyes. And then we want to criticize us for ending up with one when we should have made sure there were none.
Listen, we all got choices. Just
He makes a good point. So my daughter, I made the conscious effort to invest in books to have at home, like $450 worth of books. I paid for her to go to a math after school program. She's going to school on base, but also spent extra money to send her to after school program so she can practice math. But at the end of kindergarten, she's already at third grade level math. I'm gonna go back to this. It is the parents' responsibility to educate your child. If you as a parent are buying your child Jordans and you know your child can't read, you are doing a disservice to your child. Like I said, so I'm gonna talk about this from a parent and a man's point of view because I'm both. As a parent, it is your responsibility to educate your child. All right, it's not the government's responsibility. It's to the government's a benefit to send your child to public school and get educated in a system that's going to benefit what the government need. But if you as a parent have a child, it is also your responsibility to do extra steps needed to ensure the successful ability of your child's reading and math capabilities. All right, now as a black man, yes, we need to come up with programs that goes back to what I said earlier. If we were to all volunteer 2 hours a week to say, hey, we're gonna hire, we're gonna get the black man who's good as math. We're gonna put up classes and offer these classes to black boys so they can learn how to do math. Same for reading. After school programs. No, don't send your child to go play football. Don't send your child to play basketball. If your boy can't read, send them to places where they can learn math and reading. That's all I'm saying.
It's like if I choose to live a lifestyle
You're dealing
that
with
could,
individualism
that could,
again. I can't
but that's
deal with
part
that.
of choices.
No, it's not. We have to deal with this systemically. He brought up a question earlier, and he said, did we make these problems on our own, or was there some systemics involved? It was systemics.
Okay.
In 1970, they shut down the factories. They took out the industrial building jobs. 1980, dropped off the crack and the AIDS. 1990, the Bill Clinton crime bill. There's systemic factors at play. You totally divorce your analysis from any systemic factors at all. You ain't mentioned one. You keep talking about her and Pookie and Ray Ray with the kids. You ain't said shit about the systemics. That's exactly what white folks want you to do. That's what white folks want you to do.
I'm saying that
Ignore
I have made
what I've done to your women and scapegoat her. Because that's what she's doing to you. She's ignoring what the system did to you. And she's going to scapegoat you.
And
We're both scapegoating each other.
Okay, that's fair. That's
Your
fair.
analysis is feeding the gender war. It's not solving it.
Listen,
I don't mind us holding the
Right.
women accountable. I don't mind us holding the men accountable.
right?
Yeah.
But when we going to hold the system accountable as well?
That's fair.
And if we're going to hold the system accountable, that also means we got to make our own systems too. Black men have not been manly.
He hit the nail on the head. We have to make our own systems because the systems that you are using are designed to fuck you or mess. It's not designed in your favor. I tell people all the time, public education is not designed to increase the wealth and well-being of your family. Public education is designed to benefit the government and what the government have planned in the next 10, 20, 30 years. So if you see that black boys are falling behind in reading and math, and you keep sending them in that system, then you need to create a new system or a subsystem that's designed. For case in point, the Chinese and Jews, they send their kids to these public schools, but after school, they go to the Chinese go to a Chinese school so their kids can learn other stuff to help them progress. The Jewish kids send their kids to another after-school program to help their kids out. Black people, what systems are we creating where after school our kids go to get additional education, to get additional help? I'm gonna say black men, but I think everything I'm saying really has to be the whole community. But as a black man, if you want to be considered a leader, you have to be the one leading the charge. You have to be the one making the new systems. Because he is right. There is systematic things in place, but we also have to make new ones to counter those systems.
Quite some time when it comes to raising boys.
How would you suggest that black men take on the role of leadership
Especially when there's an attack on black masculinity.
without women willing to listen to us? You get what I'm saying? How do we prove our worth or take back the
Take
leadership
care of the
role?
boys. You want the women back? Take care of these damn boys. They run in the hood, killing people at will, flunking out of school, following the lead of the gangster rappers. There's a whole bunch of stuff we can do that ain't got nothing to do with the women, boys and men. Do you understand? Deal with the boys and the men. Leave her out of it and go straight to the boys. And you'll get her respect back. Give them jobs. Give them
So, when the military deployed to the Middle East and these other countries, they'll have things. Sometimes the troops will walk amongst the people, right? You'll see pictures of generals and colonels walking, but some of them don't have no armor on because they want to show the people that, hey, I trust y'all enough that I'm not going to wear no armor. So as black men, yes, don't live in the hood. Don't reside in the hood, but we have to make visits to the hood. We have to go be present, walk around the hood, go talk to the, and I'm not gonna say don't go without protection. Please wear your protection. Do what police used to be back in the day. We used to walk around, knew the community. That's kind of what we have to do as well. Wear your sidearm. If you want, have a flag vest that says, black man peacekeeper, something like that, so people can see you, and they also see you ain't about to be played with as well, right? I'm not gonna say go out here be kumbaya because we know what we talk. We keep talking. We know the danger right now. But what I will say is Go get a group of black men. Have like a sidearm and like a vest, and you just walking around something like that. Or don't have a sidearm. I don't know, depending on what you have. But yeah, you do. We have to be present. If that's say 2 hours, one of your hours, one of the 2 hours you say you're gonna commit is just you gonna walk around, probably go cut some grass. Ask these women, hey, you need your grass cut? Okay, I'm gonna bring my lawnmower. I'm gonna go cut the grass. You might get some brothers. Oh, can I help? Hey, can I come help cut some grass? Like stuff like that. So I see that, and I agree.
Education. Give them training. Give them your time. They not getting none of that from black men. We don't give a shit about black boys. And then we get mad at her for ending up with one later in life. It's not.
Like I said,
agree with the product and get mad for her for ending up consuming the product. She could consume whatever she wants. I'm just saying, as a black man, it's not about her consuming whatever she wants, brother. Because if we're trying to fix the black community, everybody and everything matters.
It's not an individual. You're an individualist. You're not thinking as a community. Your whole analysis is based on me and her. Step out of that shit. This is systems at play. You understand? Right? Multiple black men screwed up. Multiple black women screwed up. You understand me? Look at the systemic nature and say, what system do we need to create as black men to prevent the Pookie and Ray Ray from coming into existence?
Or I, as a black man, can just look for a woman that is healed, that is leading in her femininity, that doesn't have a child by another woman.
That doesn't solve community problems. We're talking about community solutions. That's individualism.
I'm a in on this last point. Yes, it starts with an individual. And the brother from Daily Rapper Crew made a good point. I'm gonna go find me a woman who's not damaged. He said I'm gonna go find me a black woman who's not damaged, who doesn't have children, and I'm gonna build my family. Yes. Black men, get yourself together first. Then you'll find your black woman who isn't damaged, who doesn't have kids, then make your family with her. Then, after your house is in order, then go out and allocate some of your time to the community. That is how it should be done. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you to go marry a woman who has these issues, who's trauma. If you want to do it, that is your choice, and I respect that. But if you don't want to do it, do it. That is your choice, and I respect that. You have the right to not want to marry a woman who has kids. You have the right to not want to marry a woman who has trauma. Just like women have the same right. They don't want to marry men with kids, who don't want to marry broke men, who don't want to marry fat men, who don't want to marry men with trauma too. You have that right. So you as an individual needs to be taken care of, and then you need to build a family with a woman who's gonna be in line with your program, and then you can go contribute to the community. You can go help allocate time to those single moms who have sons. I'm not gonna sit up and tell you go marry a single mom. No, but I will say you can give some time to her son. That's what I'm gonna say. All right. So I thank you. Hope you enjoyed my review of this interview. Please comment your dislikes and all, and I'll talk to you guys later.